all other EXP agents grow, expand, be empowered, and just really be baller agents. So that's what we're here for today. So any question whatsoever you have, throw it in the chat. We'll make sure we actually answer your questions and hopefully bring you a lot more value as well. So why don't we start with whoever is on the stage that wants to go first. I can't see names here. So who's here? Let's see.
Hey, good morning. I'm here, Lisa Pronto from beautiful Cape Cod.
Thanks, Lisa.
My pleasure. Yeah, I was waiting, but I'll jump in. Thrilled to be here. Always love sharing with my family. So I am on beautiful Cape Cod, as I mentioned, in Massachusetts. Have a team here. I've been with EXP a little over 2 years. Been in real estate for a pretty long time. And I look forward to hearing everyone's thoughts about the shift and as importantly, the kind of language that we're using to talk about the shift. I think we have a real opportunity right now to shape that conversation. And I love hearing some intentional ways that my colleagues are doing that. So thank you so much for sharing this morning. And I look forward to our conversation.
So great, Lisa. I think exactly the same thing. I was on my huddle call this morning with my team and my lender said something like, I feel your pain. And I thought, ooh, is that really what you want to create as the context for what's happening here? I hear a lot of people saying the sky is falling, and let's you and I just start and we'll go around and let everybody jump in. But I hear a lot of people acting like the sky is falling. It might be what happened in 2008. And while I think it's a long overdue balancing that's happening, and I know there may be other things that are going to happen, I am not worried at all. I mean, I cut my teeth in 2009, so I'm kind of okay about that. What do you think? What do you think about the market shift? What are you saying about it?
Oh, are you talking to me, or are you going to have people introduce themselves first?
I'm talking to you, and I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves and answer that question as we kind of go around.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I think that it's super important to not be sky is falling. Anyone who's been around for a while knows that we function with interest rates at 12, 13, 14%. So, the interest rates, that piece of where we're going, I don't think should be anything that people need to really wrap their, get too wrapped around a post about. I think the most important thing, though, I believe is for us to continue to build our resilience muscles so that we can flow with whatever's going on, so that we can offer certainty to all those around us, right? When everyone's panicking and people are making decisions based on, their crazy crystal balls, I think we have a responsibility and an opportunity to offer that certainty and to find out, to become market experts like never before. And the smart people, way smarter than me, have talked about during these times of shift, the most important thing we can do beyond offering certainty is to become pricing experts. So whatever we can do in that, whatever that means to you, and maybe we'll talk about that today. I think, we shore up ourselves so that we can be, kind of the eye of the storm for all those around us.
I love it. Jeff Rose, how about you? Would you like to introduce yourself and say a little bit about where you're standing in this shifting market?
Absolutely. Good morning, EXP. Happy Friday. Yeah, shift happens. This is my fourth shift in my 26 years of real estate, 10th year with EXP, 6th year as an icon, soon to be 7th. And so, shift, in my opinion, equals opportunity. And so opportunity and solutions lead to yes. So the more a person positions themselves with opportunities and solutions, the more yeses they're going to have. And also being able to know expert information or know experts, knowing diminishes no. So I think the more we put ourselves in those situations, especially being willing to work with investors again, which maybe some of us got out of the habit of doing in the last market, and other opportunities are there. And so it's just a matter of and then also with lenders, there's lenders right now that are helping people with permanent buy downs, buying down those interest rates, 2-1 buy downs. So I think those are the kind of things that help people transition in a shift.
I love it. Absolutely. Jeff, how about you? Eric, how about you? See you sitting there next to Jeff on the stage. Want to introduce yourself and say where you're standing in this shifting market?
Sure. Sure. Thanks, Christine. Yeah, Eric Patoto from British Columbia, Canada. I think this is a great time to be a realtor because, like Jeff, I've been at this a long time, and this is either my fourth or fifth correction. I don't know that anyone's experienced what we experienced last year before. I know I haven't, at least not in our market. But I think now is a great time to really learn. And I think in order to become an expert, you have to experience these type of markets. Okay, there's no way around it. You can't just, buy into what other people are saying. And this is a trial and error thing. And I think the biggest thing right now is to manage home sellers' expectations and just be real authentic with them. I mean, we have to really, really practice now more than ever to share with our home sellers in particular what they need to know rather than what they want to hear. And if you do that, you're going to be a long way ahead of having to explain why things didn't come to pass in the way that maybe expectations were set up front. So have those difficult conversations. They're not easy, but as long as you're speaking your truth and you're being authentic and you're doing the best you possibly can for your client, I think you'll be fine. And just soak it all up. Just enjoy the experience and learn from it.
Awesome. I couldn't agree more. All right. And then Kristen, I don't see Kristen on the stage. I don't know. Kristen Vinning, are you in the house?
She actually couldn't make it today.
Okay, fabulous. And then Matthew, I saw, was running a bit late. He'll be here later. So I saw we had some questions. Just for everybody on the panel, how many of you have teams? Lisa, I heard you say you have a team. Jeff, do you have a team?
So I have partnerships throughout the state of New Mexico, so I don't operate as a formal team, but I have people in every county that I partner with to cover the state.
Awesome. And Eric?
No, I used to. I dissolved my team after the crash of 2008 and started focusing more on mentoring and training, which I now do for my entire EXP organization.
Awesome. So I'm sure you'll have tons to contribute here, because one of the questions on the house or on the chat is, how do you start with team building? How do you get started? So everybody here has expertise in that field. Who wants to share first about how you get started with the team?
I'll go.
Yeah, go, please.
Okay. So I think first of all, you need to understand what this means to start a team. It's kind of like, what does it mean to have an assistant? I see too many agents hiring assistants way too early. It's almost like a status thing where, it takes work off your plate and frees you up, which is ultimately what it should be doing. But in order for that to work properly, you need to be running at full speed. You can't be running at half speed and think you need an assistant. Okay, because that's not the way you should be looking at things. And the same with building a team. Production and success get mixed up and intertwined in this industry far too often, in my opinion. You could be a great realtor and sell 12 homes a year. Okay, when you focus on the consumer and the result that you're there to create, you can do that. You don't need to sell 100, 500 homes a year, which I've had the experience of doing, to be a great agent. Yeah, people will think you are and all the rest of that, but I can tell you I've learned a lot more since then and gotten a lot better since then. And my numbers, yeah, I'm an icon, but you don't need to sell 300 homes to be an icon. So just be aware of what it is you want for yourself. Understand that, unless you really, really want to go for it, you can be as productive and as financially rewarded for your efforts by working on your own, or maybe with one buyer agent, one good assistant. Maybe start small if you're thinking about it, but make sure that you're at your max, okay? Or you see yourself very soon reaching your max, because teams and assistants are there to leverage you. Okay, so if you're not being leveraged properly, or if the leverage you're creating for yourself isn't being used correctly, then you're really wasting your time. So my advice would be sure that this is what you want to do. And, there's great agents out there at EXP who have, there's so many great teams. You've got Kinder, Jay Kinder, you've got Jeff and Marcy Wilms, you've got Brent Gove. There's just so many, mega agents with mega teams out there. That if you are going to start a team, this is a great place to do it, because at other brokerages, the thought of training someone and the thought of them leaving you 3 years later is a real problem. Okay, where here, if you're going to start a team, I would create it in such a way that you don't want people to stay. You want to build them up and set them free, and then replace them with somebody new, because EXP rewards you for that. So EXP adds another dimension to team building. So these are things that I would be thinking about.
And I would just speak to that too. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I think what he said is real key about the leverage part of it, and also the expectation part of it, is that a lot of times people want to join a team maybe for the money aspect of the opportunity. And I would say that if you want to be on a team, I would look at it from the education aspect, almost like person says, do I go to college? Do I not go to college? You leverage that college degree for the opportunities that create as much as you do for the education. And I think that's also what the opportunity of being on a team does, is if you're expecting an education first and a paycheck second, you're probably going to have a better experience than if you're expecting a paycheck first and an education second. So I think those are some things that have to be held in high regard if you look at that. And then if you're someone that wants the benefits of a team, but maybe you don't feel that you can, comply with all the team expectations, demands, or requirements, you can approach someone who is a high producer, maybe in your state, maybe in your county, and ask them, is there business that they can't handle that you could partner with them on? And you can form a team relationship with that individual without being a formal team. So there are opportunities to get an education first, get a paycheck second. And what I've seen is if you desire to be around experts, eventually you'll become one in some of these areas. I think that is what you leverage first and foremost in being a team, because there's a lot of folks that want, we've heard the phrase, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so I highly encourage that.
Great. Lisa, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to say there's so much clarity. I just love what Eric was saying about, remember that it's important to understand what you need at a particular time in your business. And that changes as well, right? We all go through different seasons. If we've been around for a little while, we've gone through a couple of seasons, and not just shifts, but seasons in our own career, in our own lives. And, continually being very clear about what you need. For me, the detail stuff, the transaction coordinator, the listing coordinator, the virtual assistant for my social media, all of that stuff, which I will go down a rat hole or I won't do, right? So, what you need. And then do you need a buyer agent? And then are you in that time of life where you're starting to look for a partner because you're wanting to give away a little bit more of your more treasured business and kind of move on to a different piece of your career and your life. So I think it's important to really really continue to come back to that, because it does change and shift. And we're only as strong as how well and how willing we are to adjust our sails as things really change. So thank you so much for that clarity, both Eric and our last speaker.
Yeah, Eric and Jeff, thank you. The other thing I love, no, it's perfect. It's great. The other thing Eric said that I love was about you've got to be willing to let them go. I think one of the pitfalls people fall into is that they want to find a team. I mean, that happens. You find agents that come on your team, and then a year later when they're successful, they're going to go. And that's a problem for a lot of people. But I really look at it like Eric was saying, EXP literally, they empower that, because now you've got that person out there in your organization with these skills that you've been teaching them for a year, and they can go build their own team. So one of the things I promise my agents on my team is, come with me. I'll show you how to build a powerful team. And we have, for the first year, we literally, anytime we bring on an agent, we do a 30-day review. We're dating for 30 days. We do a 30-day review. You still love me. I still love you. Let's date for 30 more. 60, you still love me. I still love you. Let's date for 30 more. At 90 days, I ask them to marry me for a year. And I ask for a 1-year commitment. And my job, in my mind, is to train them to be the best agent and the best organization builder at EXP that I could train them in that 1 year. And after 1 year, it could be heartbreaking when they leave, but it doesn't have to be, And that being said, I've got an agent on my team who's been with me for 10 years and 2 other who have been with me for 5 years. So they don't always have to get their feet and then go, get their feet under them and then go. But if they do, it's still good news because they're in your organization. And I think it was Jeff that said, that's what he does now. Now what he does is he empowers his EXP organization and trains his EXP organization. What a gift that is, right? So just awesome conversation, everybody. Thank you. I've actually writing down notes my own self. And I know, Frank, you're the one that asked that question. Did we answer it for you, or do you have other questions? All right. We're good. All right. And I see somebody else typing. And then Brian, do you see other questions we might have missed? Because I'm happy to go wherever you want to take us.
I am not seeing anything. Team building shifts that create opportunities from Frank.
There you go.
In California.
Yeah. And that is, and then we also just got a question. How do you handle the lead distribution on your team members? Well, I have different tiers on my team. I have tier one through tier 4, depending on where they are in their own production, where they are in their own career. And while they all have access to the pond in my CRM, there's 5,000 leads in there that are web leads, realtor.com leads, Zillow leads, all the leads that just automatically go there if they're not first immediately pulled up by another agent and taken. So those are always there for anybody. But then as my tiers go higher, if you're an agent who's doing 21 deals or more on my team, you get first dibs at the higher priced leads, right? So that's how I do it. And then I round robin a whole bunch of Op City things. I don't know if you all do Op City. I round robin Op City. I round robin street texts. But the higher leads, the ones that I really do pay for, go to my tier 4. How about you, Lisa? How do you handle leads on your team?
So honestly, it really depends. So many of them now are referrals. And so it depends on the nature of the referral. It depends on, who's referring, what's the nature of that client, and can I have that conversation? Hey, I will always be here, but how would you feel about a member of my local team also working with us? I used to say, if it's a referral, I'll have to take it no matter what. And someone said to me, that's a story you're telling yourself. Why are you insisting on that? And I thought, oh, wait a minute, that is a story I'm telling myself. So there are times when the referral may very logically, actually energetically fit with someone else on my team versus me. I'm pretty pragmatic. I've loved this market, put a ring on it, or let's move on. And if someone is in a very different space, they would be better with someone else on my team. So I really think about that, and I refer mostly. I'm a self-organized team, so I do refer. That's kind of how my team works. The regular standard referral fee, and And then if it's an internet lead, same thing. My VA is involved. We have spreadsheets. I kind of refer them to people on the team, and then he follows up with some frequency about how that lead has gone. So depending on where it came from and the nature of the actual person that's coming here, I'm in a resort and second home market. So I always say I have a lot of sellers that want to sell and buyers that want to buy, but nobody has to do a damn thing. And that is absolutely still the truth pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, now. So it's a longer sales cycle for the most part, but people are, they tend to do an awful lot of looking in the meantime, right? They're always, always on Zillow, always whatever, because again, it's a second home. It's not a primary. It's a different set of boxes that they're checking. It's a different, different metrics. So that makes for a different client experience as well.
Yeah, great. All right, good, everybody. We have some other questions. Any of you, Jeff, Eric, Lisa, any of you bringing on agents from different cities, different markets?
Yeah, definitely. I just have to tell you all, we have a great opportunity with Workplace. Okay. 3 years ago, I was in Workplace and I would see something happen where somebody would request a broker in Minnesota, Kansas, and it would sit there for 2 or 3 days. I made the decision to go into the directory and see who was close to that. Long story short, I now have 100 brokers that received a commission check because I connected them. Now, when they think of the state of New Mexico, they just refer to me. So it's a great problem, but it's a challenge. How am I going to serve my entire state? So I was forced to team up with brokers in other cities, and some of them are in my organization, some are not. But we have an arrangement that in some cases we'll split the transaction. Sometimes I refer to them, or sometimes they just support my client, depending on the situation. So we have those opportunities, not only nationally, but globally, to set up those relationships as EXP entrepreneurs, as business owners in the same company. So I love that we can do that. And in Workplace, I highly encourage you to find your people, find your groups, find the people that you can align with and serve them, and let them know that you can serve their clients in your county. And sometimes you might have to meet them halfway. Sometimes they serve the client, sometimes you serve the client. But I've just found that relationships lead to referrals. And so a lot of times folks will get caught up in what the total commission might be or what the total opportunity might be, but typically those relationships breed relationships. And so it's really been a great opportunity getting to meet other brokers throughout my state and partnering with them and seeing clients served and seeing those clients refer those relationships to us as a result of that.
Awesome. That's awesome. Anybody else on stage want to address that? And bringing in people from other cities, other counties? All right, fine. All right, good. Well, you see everybody, Brian put in the chat. If you have a question, you could just raise your hand and ask it live. So who's got a question for us? What topics do you want to talk about? Oh, I see Frank put something in here. Anybody want to talk about how you attract agents and how you're building your organization? By the way, I don't know that everybody mentioned, is that a game you're playing? I think most of us here at Icon agents are playing that game at EXP, but how many agents in your organization? How are you winning that game? How are you playing that game? I'm going to go around. I'm just going to call on everybody. Jeff, let's start with you.
So the challenge with EXP is, coming in 10 years ago, I actually came in before stock was available. So wow. we tried to work on this airplane while it was flying, so to speak. But it's been a great ride. And I think what I've learned as an Icon agent, it is a challenge to serve your clients at an Icon level and be a high attractor. There's some people that do it in EXP, but one thing we have to realize is typically if people are Icon agents, that's their focus. If people are attractors, that's their focus. So I think the key is finding a balance. And so I have about just under 70 folks in my organization, 18 on my top row, but it is a challenge to continually attract. But what I have found is that by following up with brokers that you do a transaction with, sadly, in our industry, most people don't stay with their brokerage for more than a year or two, and a number of people get out of the business. And so we've had some people that were going to get out of the business, or they were going to leave their brokerage, join us because of the experience they had. So I highly encourage you to build relationships with the brokers you do transactions with. And then also some of my clients have become brokers, and also some students that I know that I've watched grow up that are now graduating college. They're not able to get jobs. They're getting real estate licenses, and they're being successful, and they looking for someone to help them on their journey. So I think we have some of those opportunities in addition to attracting at a high level. And if you can position yourself to do that, great. I've just done it organically, and hopefully as we're serving more and more clients, and I have more brokers that can serve clients, it'll free me up just on attraction, because as we're seeing, there's a lot of benefit to attraction for not only serving clients, but having the benefits of revenue share.
Fabulous.
I'll jump in.
Yeah,
So
please.
I've just been here 2 years. I really have to agree that I have not had the capacity, also being a grandma and, trying to stay married. I have not had the capacity to aggressively pursue building my organization, although that certainly is my intention and the business trajectory that I'm on now. But I'd love to sell so much that it's, I'm always interested to hear how other people have worked on that transition, and what that looks like. Is it a balancing act? Is it an intentional going from like 80-20 to 20-80, kind of in your activity over 2 years? Do people actually plan that out? How does that work? I've got about 15 or 16 in my organization now. Most of them are on my first line. Most of them are cappers, because they're all people who just really want to sell real estate and who wanted to work with me. So I think, I love to be around the high attractors, because I learned so much. I learned so much about what holds me back, about my limiting beliefs. And that's always a good thing in self-discovery. And but again, like most of us up here, I pretty much continue to put my head down and sell real estate. So because I love it, that's what my passion is. I also do a lot of volunteering at the state, local, and national level. So that keeps me busy as well. That also helps my visibility and helps with referrals. It's all connected, But I do a lot of that. So I am around a lot of people and should be having some more of those meaningful conversations more often, for sure.
So great, Lisa. I'm the exact opposite of you. If I never sold another house, I'd be so happy. I'm like wanting out of, I love real estate. I love the whole game of it, but I really did shift my focus. And I'll tell you those of you that asked about how I actually attract agents, but I shifted my focus. When I really started building a team, I didn't want to be driving around buyers. So I started giving away all my buyers. And then mostly I keep my listings if they're over 600, 700,000. Anything under that I'll give away. But luxury listings, 2, 3 million, I'll keep. My team gets everything else. And I put my attention on building my organization just like I used to when I was in real estate. Like I do lead gen. I take people to coffee. I have ads on LinkedIn. I throw events at my office. We do wine tasting, we do investing seminars, we do TikTok and Tequila Tuesdays, we do masterminds. So for me, I'm really going after my local market a lot. And those also, it ends up attracting newer agents, which I can put on my team if they're looking for that kind of support as well. So I have 105 people. I think actually I probably have 110 now. I brought on 4 or 5 people in the last 2 to 3 weeks, because I was really focusing on it. I'm in a level up training right now, and I've been focusing on it a little bit more. But where you put your attention and where you put your intention is what's going to manifest in your life. And I put my attention and intention on passive income. So most of those 105 people, I think 24 of them are on my first line. They're not all FLQAs. Not all of them are doing deals regularly enough yet, but they mostly came from events. And we have a 33 touch program we just put in our CRM, which is for recruiting, which is something that my director of operations and I have been building out for a few months. And we're super excited that that's going to be launching. Obviously, a drip campaign is not enough. I still got to call people, talk to people, but I think it's exactly what everybody said. It's where you put your attention and where you put your intention. And if you want to start building your organization, I don't know what the measure is, 80, 20, 20, 80, like Lisa asked. I don't know what that balance is yet, but I know if you put some intention into building your organization, it's a pretty fabulous game to invite people to play.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%. I love what you just said, and I have to clarify that I like the sale.
You like the what? Say it again.
The sale, the bell ringing.
Yeah.
But I have people fortunately in my organization that that do a lot of the rest of it, because like you, if I never saw, even listings, if I listed a house and never saw that seller again, I'd probably be, I mean, I am who I am, right? And so we are who we are. So, but I'm going to reach out to you privately because I want to learn more about what you're doing, hear more about what you're doing. For sure. It's, it continues to be a process, but I would really love to learn more about how you're handling all that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have a quick tip also.
That wasn't meant like, Lisa, that wasn't meant like I didn't mean like, oh, what do you, you get it. Everybody's got their game. Everybody's got what they love. Yeah. Sorry, Jeff, was that you speaking up, or Eric? I'm not sure.
That was me. A quick tip for all of us. We all have relationships with lenders, with title company, with vendors, home inspectors, etc. One of the things you might want to get in the habit of doing is asking them if they know of any great realtors that are considering making a change or considering getting out of real estate. They will be great mavens for your business. And I've had a number of people join our team as a result of that tip.
Awesome. Anybody else have anything on this topic you want to contribute to the people here in the audience? Oh, Lisa, the other thing I love that you said is that you volunteer, right? I think that's a great way not only to meet other agents. For years, I steered clear of networking events, or I volunteer places, and then I'd see another agent there, and I'm like, because I thought I wanted all of the clients, but now I want to go places where there are other agents. So now I'm going to meetups where, as a newer agent 10, 15 years ago, I would go to a meetup and be discouraged that there were 5 other agents there. Now I go to a meetup and I want other agents there, because those are the people I'd rather talk to. I'd rather get another agent in a conversation with me than a buyer. So that's another way I shifted my mentality. So going to those networking events, looking for agents, is a fabulous way to build your organization. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have here? What are your favorite form of education for yourself? Eric, you want to touch on that one?
Sure. The question is, what's my favorite form of education for myself?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I have a bit of a different take on what we're doing here in our industry and all the rest of that. So for me, it's constant about becoming the best version of myself. So whatever I can listen to, read, on the personal development side, I'm a big proponent of that. And the reason being is I just feel like too many agents get into this with the misconception of what our industry is about. And then once they're in it, they're disillusioned by the fact that it's almost like they feel like they have to give up their identity to become a realtor and play the realtor game as everyone else is doing, which I think is a big mistake. I think you have to be true to yourself moving forward, and you have to recognize what your challenges are. If you think you can get through this and you have issues regarding whether or not you're worthy enough to be successful or worthy enough to be financially independent, you're going to have a problem. Okay, that's always going to be in your way. So identify what your limiting beliefs are, work on them, and keep moving towards bettering yourself. I mean, it's okay to add all these accessories to your business that, you know, everyone's using, or that it's a new thing in the industry and all the rest of that. But there's a difference between necessities and accessories, and everyone loves to accessorize. And I think, from my point of view, in training agents, I think there's too few agents who are focused on the necessities. And it starts with us. Okay, we have to show up a different way. We have to show up as consumer-centric agents, not agent-centric agents. And so I would say, really, you know, it's okay to work on your technical skills, but to put your technical skills ahead of your soft skills is, in my opinion, a huge mistake.
Brilliant. What's your favorite book, or what are you reading right now, Eric? Because it sounds like you have,
I've got a whole reading list for my coaching program. You know, there's people like Eckhart Tolle, Don Miguel Ruiz. You know, the Go Giver series is brilliant. Yeah, there's, you know, you can email me. I'm happy to send you the list. It's eric.patoto@exprealty.com. And yeah, so I'm happy to share that.
Thank you. That's so great. I'm with you 100%, by the way. I think if we're not constantly breaking ourselves up and transforming ourselves, that you can't just get better and better by doing more work. You can't just grind it out here. You've got to really deal with who you are. And I too love that type of work. I participated in and have volunteered for and led courses for a company called Landmark, the Landmark Forum, for years and years and years, which is all about looking at who you are. So I love that that's your take. Thanks for that. Jeff or Lisa, and what's your favorite type of education for yourself?
I would say hands-on. Most people gain confidence from practice, but in real estate, you know, there's a number of activities that people have never done before. And so I think the sooner you ask the question, when am I going to do what I've never done? And come up with, like what you said, when are you going to give intention to your attention on those activities? But what I'm learning is that, you know, what sets me apart from other brokers is that I know of opportunities and solutions that they don't. And it's because I knew someone that knew how to do what I didn't know how to do. I was able to practice, learn, partner with them. And now I had a path to learn what they know. And now I know what they know. And now I can share what they know. And now others benefit from knowing that. So I think, you know, there's people in here who, you know, we think of a VA loan right now is the only zero down loan. But in this market, you all need to know that USDA does zero down loans. You need to know that there's a number of tribes that offer tribal loans, and they'll even have special closing costs to their brokers. So if you, and also many times we'll see where there's a referral for someone that speaks a foreign language. If you have a relationship with an interpreter, now you can serve that client because you have an interpreter that's going to help you serve that client. So opportunities lead to solutions. And so I highly encourage people to do something they've never done before and start practicing. So if you've never done a commercial transaction, you've never done a land transaction, a condo, a well and septic, if you've never done something like that, partner with someone that has and start practicing it, or ask them if you can write up that purchase agreement or write up that listing agreement, or go be at that inspection or be at that closing and get that experience you don't have. Because once you're not thinking about what you don't know anymore, and you know the solution, you become a force to be reckoned with, and the people around you see that confidence, and they want to be around someone who's confident, who can serve them, and who's not perfect, but who's ready to take the next step in their career and be an expert, or at least connect with an expert.
Awesome advice. Lisa, anything for you on education of ourselves?
Sure. Yeah. I love this question. Love this question. I think there's really a lot of value and importance in both looking at the hard and the soft skills. In terms of real estate, we are so fortunate with EXP. How do we even start to talk about the kinds of education, the variety, the ways that it can hit different learning styles, from commercial training to, I teach a course on gratitude, right? So there's just so many different things that we can learn in terms of hard skills for real estate. But I also want to mention the soft skill piece and the creative part of our brains. And, for me, I love to pursue any new kinds of yoga practices, meditation, different things that I think help us become more grounded in who we are so that we can serve and love all of those around us. So I think from a soft skill point of view, that's hugely important to keep finding people that inspire you, dead or alive, and following them, trying to be with them, understanding, what motivates them and how they've gotten to be and walk in the world the way they do. And then hard skills, we're so lucky here. I'm also a huge proponent and an active volunteer in the Residential Real Estate Council, our CRS designation, which I believe has some of the very, very best education that the real estate profession offers, as well as Brian Buffini. I'm continually, I would come sort of back home to Brian, and because Brian's really come back into real estate as well, and he's just so funny and so amazing and so spot on and so heart-centered. So we're so lucky to be in the place in the world that we are right now, and with the brokerage we're with, certainly, and to have leaders like this be so accessible to all of us. It's a really beautiful time.
Thank you for that. That's awesome. Renee, you had a question? You want to ask it live?
Yeah, definitely. Hey, everybody. Thank you for your contribution today with your words and your knowledge. So I don't know if anybody's experiencing this in their market, and so it's kind of a side topic, but we had a couple different people that were, I guess, kind of like harder hitters in our city that used to be with EXP, and they all jumped over to Real. Are you guys seeing that in your market, and how are you guys battling that? Because we've seen quite a big shift of people turning over there, going that route. And I'm a builder, so I have 20 agents under me. And so I'm trying to build more people, but I'm fighting an uphill battle. Any recommendations from you all?
So I would say copying is the best form of flattery. Okay. And so we've seen that happen with KW, that KW's seen a lot of their brokers become EXP brokers. And so I think you can realize that that's the industry we're in, is that people have a right to choose what's best for them. Also, we've seen people come back to a brokerage they've left too. And we've seen that happen on both sides. So I think you can speak to it that, hey, those people are welcome to come back to EXP if they do. They're entrepreneurs like EXP brokerage. So I think you can commend that. You can want to work with them and realize that as business owners, we have decisions to make that are best for our family. And hopefully that's why they made those decisions, is based on that and not on something else. But whatever their reason, I think it's a positive right now that what we are seeing is a shift from people who are no longer staying with brokerages on a model that is going to get more difficult and more difficult. And we're seeing some companies right now that are having to make some major decisions because they are so bricks and mortar centric. And so what I do appreciate about Real, what I appreciate about EXP, is they are brokerages that are entrepreneurial minded. They're embracing the future. And so I would focus on those as positive rather than a negative. And I would also tell you there's a lot of brokers that are in those bricks and mortar models that are going to have some really tough decisions to make if they don't make a shift. So I would encourage us to not worry so much about those going to Real as what can we do to help those that are in a bricks and mortar model come into our model and experience the difference of being a broker owner.
I love the comment we just got. If you guys look in the comment tabs, it says, never heard of Real, but just Googled them. They got 6,000 agents. We're at 84,000 agents. So there's that.
And they're not global. And, just know that if you look at the way the ownership is, it's a very different arrangement.
you want to say a little bit more about that? I don't know a lot about them. I don't deal with that here in Seattle.
Well, here's just something you need to know. I don't know exactly what percentage of EXP is former KW, but I'm going to say it's higher than 50%. I don't know what percentage of Real is former EXP, but I'm going to say it's really close to 50%. Okay, so it is a similar model in the sense that there is revenue share, there is a broker split. There's not a franchise fee. So some of those things are similar, but they do some other things differently. And they have not scaled yet. So keep that in mind. I think there's other people who speak to it better than me, but I know being with EXP when there was less than 100 agents, there's a real challenge to scale from 5 to 10,000 brokers. And we did that. We can go back and look at some of the joys and pains of that process and what it took to get there. They haven't reached that yet. Now, hopefully they will, and they'll have good success, but there will be some growing pains on that scaling opportunity. So keep that in mind. They're there now, and they're in a shifting market. We were in a growth market when that happened.
Really great. I'll tell you, one of the things I do just to curb or, to hedge my bets against any other brokerage is I open up my calendar to everybody in my EXP organization, whether they're on my team or not. They're welcome to all of my huddle calls in the morning. They're welcome to my masterminds. They're welcome to I do a level up 90-day training program. It's $3,000. If they're in my EXP organization, it's free. So I think it has a lot to do with you, the human being they're connected to, as much as it has to do with the brokerage. So I think the more value we can add to people or offer people, the more support, the more camaraderie, the more connectedness. Not everybody's going to be able to offer that. I mean, even here at EXP, I find people that, they get sponsored in and they never talk to their sponsor again. So if I was up against Real and they are similar in their structure or models, that's what I would offer. I would offer a lot more of me and what my team offers. And they don't have to be on my team, but I would offer up my calendar to them to give them more value. And Jesse Zaborski is my sponsor, and he does a lot of that, right? That's how I learned that, is I watched him open up masterminds to every single person that I've ever invited is welcome to his mastermind. So I offer you that, my friend. Anybody else on this topic?
I would just add that, who was the gentleman who asked the question originally?
Who asked that? Hold on, I gotta
Renee?
go.
Yeah, Renee, it's me.
Renee. I would, again, maybe just change your perception and angle of approach. First of all, we know already that any new brokerage that's going to enter the industry is going to try to replicate what EXP is doing. Real exists, but it's actually, well, it's inferior. Okay, so the people jumping are those who think, well, maybe I'll have a better chance of building over here, or maybe this fits me, and that's fine. So I don't know that battling it or using that kind of language, fighting against or battling this, that always creates, I guess you have to assess what is that perception, Renee, doing to you? Okay, what's it doing with regards to the way you approach people, your energy? What frequency are you giving off with that mindset? Okay, it's almost like approaching a home seller where your entire focus is on getting the listing. Well, that's extraction. Okay, people don't like to be sold, even though they know they have to make a decision. And they have to do what they have to do, and they've got to choose somebody. So I would approach it from an educational standpoint, and like Christine said, offer things, masterminds and whatnot, to invite people to it, which is what I'm trying to create right now on a national scale up here in Canada. And just really believe in EXP and just let people do their thing. Okay, there's no force feeding anyone anything. So I focus on educating rather than selling, and be open to help. And, you know, people are going to, they may leave, but, you know, I think people are smart after a while, and they'll figure it out, and they'll go, you know what? Renee's my best resource. I think I need to be sticking closer to him.
Well, thank you guys, by the way. I do everything that I do with EXP and my team is value proposition, by the way, and education, coaching, guidance. So I 100% agree with those points. I guess it was more related to, is anybody else experiencing that?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it in New Mexico. It took a while to get here. We're here in Albuquerque, and we're seeing that in Santa Fe, there's a QB there now, and there's probably about 300 there's probably 400 brokers in the state of New Mexico with EXP. There's probably 40 brokers with Real, so about 10%. So
Gotcha.
I would say that, you know, they're getting about 5 to 10% market share in a lot of cities, and you know, good for them. As it relates to, like I said, the trend is that, you know, bricks and mortar, just like we saw with Blockbuster to Netflix, or music stores to iTunes, you know, that is the future. And I think the more brokerages that go in that direction, it's going to support, you know, just like there's companies that if you were the first to do something, you're going to have a following because you were the first. So I think we are going to watch others follow other brokers and other copycats. That's going to happen. But it's also going to affirm those of us that were part of the company that did it first.
All right, cool. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, my team's all strong. We a lot of loyal people from my team. They haven't left. It was just more of surrounding teams with EXP that aren't part of my team. But all right, thank you guys so much for your feedback.
Thanks for the question. Anybody else have questions in the audience you want to answer? We've got 5 minutes left, I think, Brian?
Yeah, just about. If anybody wants to open up their mics and ask a question, raise your hand. Christine, we have Connie on your right.
Hi, y'all. Thank you so much for the great informational session. But when they're talking about Real, we have the patent under the copyright on Verbella, correct?
Right. As it relates to some of the other companies that we're associated with and Verbella, they are not able to duplicate that. All they're duplicating is a cloud-based brokerage arrangement.
Yeah, they'll never catch us. Y'all are great. Thank you.
That's all we need to be left with. Our final note today: they'll never catch us. Or I always say in my mind to myself all the time, they're all coming. They're all coming.
That's funny.
But here's something to keep in mind that y'all need to know as entrepreneurs, and I don't know how many of you own stock versus don't own stock, but keep this in mind. What KW did a great job of is converting an old mindset to a mindset of brokers working together, getting trained, and having profit sharing. Okay, they did a great job of converting people from a former way of doing things to that. EXP has now taken it to the next level, and so brokerages who are in the formal way of doing it or at KW can choose EXP. And if someone, you know, for whatever reason decides EXP is not a fit for them anymore, I would applaud them still going with a cloud-based brokerage than going backwards into a system that eventually is going to maybe not serve them in the long run and serve their clients in the long run. So keep that in mind also. And we all have the right to be stockholders.
Exactly.
And entrepreneurs.
All right, everybody, we have 3 minutes left. Any parting words or anything you just, out of everything we've been talking about, anything you want to contribute and leave everybody with before we end?
I will give and I have no specific interest involved with this, but encourage everyone, if they're not there, there is a group on Workplace called Family Tree, And it's a place where a bunch of, really everyone is invited, but where a bunch of larger downlines came together and said, hey, we're all one company, let's collaborate. And I just want to give an extra push for collaboration in EXP. I've been working with organizations and groups for my whole career, and I've never been in an environment that's like this, where I do better if I help you do better. And that has just created such an amazing cycle of abundance and collaboration. And I would just encourage everyone, if they haven't taken full advantage, or even if they feel like they have, find another area where you can collaborate with other colleagues across the world. This is an amazing time, and an amazing time to uplift each other. I put a hashtag in there a while ago, lift others as we rise. And I think that that's a beautiful way to think about our brokerage.
Awesome. Fabulous. I love it. Anybody else?
Hey, it's Connie again. I actually, I think that I'm a small time. I'm actually still in the legal profession and trying to break into the real estate profession, because I'm now a certified legal nationally in real estate. But the point is I've managed to maintain my MLS and my EXP fees. I sold 2 houses, and I was in with a line, or actually got my experience doing the transactions on my first 8 houses, but not the commission. All I'm saying is I have not made the money that I will one day, but I will transition out. And it's just because of the love of the people. You know, my mentor is, Terry, and he is just amazing. And it's the care. I will pay the $85 until I can financially break into EXP and become a 2 times icon. It's the people here that make me want to stay. And it's fun, it's loving, and I won't take up any of the remaining minutes. Thanks. God bless y'all.
Well, I encourage you to practice evenings and weekends, and reach out to brokers that you can partner with and learn from while you're in that transition process.
I see that that's the thing to do. And you guys gave some great suggestions, and that is, volunteer to go to the different closings and whatnot. So I appreciate the takeout from today.
Awesome. All right, Brian.
So I have a final thought.
Please.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so what I just encourage everyone is to keep in mind that in the market ahead right now, solutions lead to yes. So really be thinking about what solutions you can share with people that are going to lead to a yes. And so there's a great book out there by an icon in Tucson named Bob Zachmeyer called Who Needs the Bank? And what Bob has done in his market is he has partnered business owners who can't get a loan from a bank with retirees who want to get more than a 1% to 2% return from their CDs. And long story short, he does about 300 transactions a year just by helping small business owners work with retirees. So we all have those opportunities in our market. So I highly encourage you to read books like that, position your people who are doing those kind of things, and begin to create those opportunities even in a market. And right now with lenders, find out everything you can about permanent buy downs and different buy down programs that can help someone that maybe can't qualify for a loan right now. By just knowing something they didn't know, now they can qualify. So highly encourage that.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank all of you for coming today, all of our icons on the stage, all of you in the audience. All of you come back next week. If you can put an 11 in the chat, if you think that you can bring one other person that will find value in the icons that we have coming up. Let's hear it. 11's in the chat. Light it up, everybody. All right, well, let's give a big round of applause for our icons this week. Make sure you come back next week. We're here every Friday at 8:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right after the leadership meeting. So go ahead and invite 2 people. Let's invite 11. Can you bring 11 people? Let's light up 11 in the chat. Yes. All right, you guys, have a great Friday. It's Friday.
Great day.
Stay
Hope to see
positive.
you all in EXP World.
Yes.
EXP Con.
Awesome. And remember, solutions lead to yes. That's a
Yes.
good quote. Write it down. All right,
Yeah.
Meg.
We'll see y'all there. Keep using
Y'all
your
have a good one.
superpowers. Avoid your kryptonite.